They told you that love makes you weak, that if you open your heart, you'll be vulnerable, that the moment you allow yourself to care, you're setting yourself up to be broken. And maybe you believed it, because once you did open your heart, you gave it everything, and instead of finding strength, you found pain. Instead of security, you found yourself standing in pieces, wondering why love had to feel like a war you could never win. But here's the truth, nobody told you. Love was never the enemy. The wrong person was, the wrong moment was, the wrong story was. And because you carried that wound, you began to believe that love itself was dangerous, that love takes more than it gives. You walked through the world armored, convincing yourself you didn't need it, that you'd be stronger if you just stood alone. But deep down, late at night, you knew that wasn't true. Because no matter how strong you tried to be on your own, there was a part of you that longed, not for weakness, not for escape, but for connection. Think about it, the most powerful people in history, the leaders, the visionaries, the ones who changed the world, they weren't powered by hate or fear or isolation. They were fueled by love, love for their people, love for their dreams, love for a cause greater than themselves. That love became the fire in their chest, the reason they woke up when life tried to bury them. Love wasn't their downfall, it was their fuel. And yet, here's the irony. When you've been hurt, love feels like fire on bare skin. You flinch, you back away. You build walls so high that even the possibility of love feels like a threat. And in doing so, you confuse protection with imprisonment. You lock yourself inside your own fear, convincing yourself that you're safe, but in reality, you're just stuck. But what if I told you that the very thing you're running from, the thing you call weakness, is the exact thing that could set you free? Because real love doesn't strip you of strength. It awakens it. Real love doesn't trap you in fear. It releases you from it. Love is not a chain, it's wings. When someone truly sees you, not the mask you wear, not the act you put on for the world, but you, the flawed, scarred, imperfect you, that's when something shifts. That's when you realize that love is not about filling your emptiness, it's about unlocking your fullness. And suddenly, all the lies you were told, that love makes you dependent, that love makes you fragile, fall apart. Because here you are, standing taller, speaking louder, fighting harder, simply because someone believed in you. Maybe you've forgotten what that feels like. Maybe heartbreak taught you to bury the idea altogether. But somewhere, deep inside, you still crave it. Not just romance, not just attraction, but love in its truest form. The kind that pulls you forward. The kind that demands you rise. The kind that forces you to confront the best and worst of yourself and still keep going. This is the misunderstood power of love. The power to turn scars into strength. The power to transform loneliness into courage. The power to ignite purpose where despair once lived. But most people never see it this way, because they stop at the pain. They give up at the heartbreak. They confuse a broken chapter for the whole book. And so they live half-lives safe, protected, but never truly alive. But you have a choice. You can stay where you are, locked in fear, convincing yourself you don't need it. Or you can dare to believe that maybe, just maybe, love is the one force strong enough to rebuild what was broken in you. And here's the twist. You don't have to find it in someone else first. Love begins the moment you allow yourself to see your own worth, to forgive yourself, to believe that you are worthy of connection, worthy of being seen, worthy of being loved. That's where the power begins. And once you've unlocked it inside yourself, the world will begin to mirror it back. Because love isn't weakness, it isn't fragility. It's the most dangerous, unstoppable, world-changing force on this earth. And the moment you stop fearing it, the moment you choose to embrace it, you'll realize that everything they told you is wrong. Love was never your enemy. It was always your greatest weapon. But this is only the beginning. Because once you see love differently, once you stop confusing it with pain, you'll begin to notice something else, something even more powerful, something that could change everything about the way you live. Heartbreak. It's a word that feels small compared to the way it actually tears through your life. Because when love shatters, it doesn't just leave you with memories, it leaves you with silence, emptiness, and 1,000 questions you can't answer. You wake up and for a second, you forget. Then it all hits you again, and you realize the world has changed, but only for you. Everyone else keeps moving while you're stuck in the rubble of what used to be, and in that moment, you feel powerless. Like love betrayed you. Like the very thing that was supposed to make you stronger, left you weaker than ever. You replay conversations in your head, dissecting every word, every glance, trying to find the moment where it all began to fall apart. You blame them, you blame yourself, you blame the idea of love itself. And for a while, it feels easier to shut down, to harden your heart, to promise yourself you'll never go through this again. But here's the secret no one tells you. Heartbreak, as brutal as it is not just destruction, it's transformation in disguise. Pain has a way of cracking you open, exposing the parts of you you've been hiding, forcing you to confront truths you'd rather ignore. It's in the ashes of heartbreak that the seeds of your new strength are planted. Think about it. The strongest people you know, the ones who inspire you, the ones you admire, they didn't become unshakable because life was kind to them. They became unshakable because life broke them. And instead of staying broken, they chose to rise. They used the fire of heartbreak to forge resilience, to build a version of themselves that no storm could destroy. Heartbreak is not the end of your story. It's the painful beginning of a new chapter. A chapter where you discover that your worth was never dependent on someone else's ability to see it. A chapter where you realize that rejection does not define you. It redirects you. That the love you thought you lost was indeed the love that was meant to carry you forward. And maybe right now, you're thinking, that sounds beautiful in theory, but you don't know my pain. You don't know what I've lost. And you're right, I don't. No one can measure the depth of your heartbreak, except you. But here's what I do know. Pain is universal. And every single time in history when someone has turned pain into purpose, they've discovered a strength they didn't know existed. There's a reason heartbreak feels like it rips something out of you. It's because it's pulling away the parts that no longer serve you. The illusions, the dependencies, the fears, and as much as it hurts, that tearing creates space. Space for healing, space for growth, space for the version of you who will rise from this stronger, wiser, and more unstoppable than the one who fell. It doesn't happen overnight. Healing isn't a straight line. There are days when you'll feel like you're making progress, only to fall apart again at the memory of their voice or the way they used to laugh. And that's okay. That's part of the process. Strength isn't built in the moments where everything feels easy. It's built in the moments where you want to give up, but you don't. Where you feel the weight of the pain, but you choose to keep moving anyway. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, something shifts. You wake up one day and the ache isn't quite as sharp. The silence doesn't feel as heavy. The memories don't sting as much. You start to laugh again, even if just for a moment. You start to see a glimpse of yourself. Not the broken version, not the lost version, but the real version of you. The one who's still standing, despite it all. That's the rise. That's the turning point. The moment you realize that heartbreak didn't destroy you, it rebuilt you. You are no longer the same person who walked into that relationship. You are someone stronger. Someone who knows pain but also knows resilience. Someone who has been burned but refuses to let the fire consume them. And when you reach that point, when you stand in the ashes and realize you've survived, you begin to understand something powerful. Heartbreak wasn't your enemy, it was your teacher. It showed you what you truly need, what you truly deserve, and what you are truly capable of. But here's where the real test begins. Because rising from heartbreak is only half the journey. The other half is learning what to do with that new strength. How to take the pain you've turned into power and channel it into purpose. And that's the next step. That's where everything changes. Confidence. It's that invisible force that changes the way you walk into a room, the way you speak, the way people respond to you. But here's the thing most people don't realize. Confidence isn't something you reborn with. It's something that's built. And one of the most powerful forces that can build it is love. Think about it. Real love doesn't just tell you you're enough, it makes you feel it, deep down in your bones. It's like someone holds up a mirror, and for the first time, you don't see the flaws, the insecurities, the doubts. You see your true reflection, the version of yourself you've been too afraid to believe in. When someone loves you authentically, without conditions, it dismantles the lies you've carried for years. Lies that told you you're not good enough, that you're not worthy, that you'll never measure up. Their love speaks louder than your self-doubt, and suddenly, the voice in your head that used to tear you down is replaced with a whisper that says, you can, you are, you will. But here's the twist. Love doesn't magically erase your insecurities. It gives you the courage to face them. It doesn't hand you confidence on a silver platter. It plants a seed inside you, and with every act of kindness, every word of encouragement, every moment of belief, they water that seed until it grows roots too deep to be shaken. And once you've felt that, once you've been loved in a way that reveals your worth, you carry that confidence with you, even when you're alone. Because real confidence isn't about needing validation from others. It's about remembering the truth someone else helped you see. Love gives you the evidence you didn't know you needed, and that evidence stays long after the person is gone. Imagine a man who's always walked with his head down, convinced he has nothing to offer. Then someone sees him, really sees him, and tells him, you're more than you think. At first he laughs it off, shrugs it away. But over time, he begins to stand a little taller, to speak a little clearer, to try things he never dared to before. That's not magic. That's the transformation of love at work. Confidence isn't just about how you see yourself. It's about how you act in the world. And love pushes you to act differently. It gives you the courage to take risks, to chase opportunities, to step outside of your comfort zone. Because suddenly, failure doesn't feel like the end. It feels survivable. Why? Because love reminds you that even if you fall, you're still enough. But here's the deeper truth. The most powerful confidence doesn't just come from being loved. It comes from learning to love yourself in the same way. Love is the catalyst, but self-love is the fuel. When you internalize that external validation, when you stop depending on someone else to remind you of your worth, you unlock a level of confidence no one can take away. And let's be real, it's not always easy. Doubt creeps back in. Old wounds reopen. You wonder if you're truly capable, but then you remember the way love changed you, the way it revealed strength you didn't know existed, and you realize the confidence you gained wasn't temporary. It's permanent. It's yours. That's why love is so powerful. It doesn't just make you feel good, it rewires the way you see yourself. It teaches you to walk in your truth, to own your flaws, to embrace your strengths. And once that switch has been flipped, once you've seen who you really are, you can't go back to the old version of you. Confidence isn't about arrogance, it's about authenticity. It's about standing tall, not because you think you're perfect, but because you know you're worthy. Love helps you discover that truth. And once you've found it, no amount of rejection, no heartbreak, no failure can erase it. So here's the challenge. Don't just accept the confidence love gives you. Use it. Channel it into something bigger. Let it push you toward your purpose. Because confidence without purpose is like a flame without direction. It burns bright, but it doesn't transform anything. And your story, your pain, your journey, they were never meant to end with just being confident. They were meant to light the path to something greater. And that's where we go next. Because love doesn't just build your confidence, it awakens your purpose. And when those two collide, that's when your life truly begins. Purpose. It's a word we throw around a lot, but when you really stop and think about it, purpose is what makes life worth living. It's what gets you out of bed in the morning. It's what turns ordinary days into meaningful ones. But here's the reality. Most people spend their lives searching for it, wondering why they feel empty, restless, or lost. And then, love walks in. Not the shallow kind of love that fades when times get hard. I'm talking about the kind of love that sees the broken pieces of you and says, "You're still worthy." That kind of love awakens something deeper. It pulls back the curtain and whispers, "You were never meant to just exist. You were meant to live." When someone believes in you, when they love you for who you are, suddenly the dreams you buried don't feel so impossible anymore. You begin to see that your life was never just about survival. It was about contribution. Love doesn't hand you a roadmap, but it gives you the courage to start walking. And as you walk, you discover pieces of yourself you didn't know were there. Think about it. Purpose and fear can't live in the same space. And love is the force that shatters fear. The fear of failure, the fear of rejection, the fear of not being enough. Love whispers, even if you fail, you still matter. And in that safety, you find the freedom to try. That's where purpose is born. In the risk, in the leap, in the courage to chase something greater than yourself. But here's the twist. Purpose isn't always about doing something big in the world. Sometimes it's found in the small, quiet ways you love others. The way you show up, the way you serve. Sometimes purpose is found in transforming your pain into compassion, your wounds into wisdom, your struggles into strength that can help someone else. Love turns your suffering into fuel, not for revenge, not for bitterness, but for growth, for meaning, for purpose. There's a reason so many of history's greatest leaders, creators, and visionaries talk about love as their foundation. Because when you've been loved, you understand connection, you understand empathy. You understand that your story is not just yours, it's a light for someone else still walking through the dark. That's what purpose feels like. It's not about glory, it's about impact. It's about leaving people better than you found them. But don't get it twisted, love won't magically hand you your purpose on a silver plate. It awakens it, yes. But it's your responsibility to chase it, to act, to create, to serve. And that's where the real transformation happens, when you take the love you've received and turn it outward into love you give. That's when your life takes on a meaning deeper than anything you could have imagined. Maybe your purpose is to heal others through your story. Maybe it's to create something that inspires. Maybe it's to lead, to teach, to guide, or simply to show someone else that they matter. Whatever it is, you'll never find it hiding in the shadows of fear. You will find it when you step into the light of love and allow yourself to believe that your life was meant for more. And here's the most beautiful part. When you discover your purpose, you no longer chase validation. You no longer live for applause. You live with intention. You live with clarity. You live knowing that your life, no matter how ordinary it may seem, has extraordinary meaning. And that is the gift love gives. It takes you from wandering aimlessly to walking with direction. So if you've ever wondered, what's the point? Why am I here? Look at the way love has shaped you. Look at the way it's built your confidence, revealed your strength, and softened your heart. Inside those lessons, you'll find your purpose. And once you find it, you'll never see your life the same again. Because here's the truth. Love doesn't just change how you feel, it changes why you live. And when love awakens your purpose, your story becomes unstoppable.